Hello, hello, what is up? What is good? We are reading chapter 125 of One Punch Man. Oh, wait, first I want to call out, they say here, last page's amazing redraw by M. Looksum. Looksum? M. Look SM? This, looking back at it, is actually an amazing redraw, because I'm sure in the original Japanese, this cross-fang dragon slayer fist would have been 5 gigantic ass kanji. Being able to remove that and replace it with the Romanji, with the English language, um, is kind of mind blowing here. Like, look at the line work they had to do behind it. Look at aspects of like Rover they had to redraw, the attack effects, this bo gya gya in the background signifying punching and stuff. They had to redo it all, so that's pretty amazing. I'm really glad that the Scanlation team called out that amazing redraw. Not just that redraws by Mlookism, but that there was this amazing redraw that was done by Mlookism, because that is worth pointing out. Scanlation itself is such an art. But we got to move on. No more time for this. Chapter 125, he continues marching forward, taking another step. This chapter says, Happy New Year, which means we're only 2 months behind. Not maybe something to be proud of. This chapter title is Sit. And near the end of the last chapter, I thought that that's what they were building towards, that the only option left was the cheat code for Rover. I don't want to spoil too much. If there's somehow people watching this that A, don't read the webcomic, and B, haven't read this chapter before. Yeah, those people don't exist. So yeah, in the webcomic, everyone keeps hitting Rover down and saying sit. And that at a certain point, when they can't think of anything else to beat him, I'm pretty sure it's Bang, just says sit, like as a joke, and Rover dutifully sits down. And they just walk right past. So I think that's what's going to be depicted here. As I said in the last chapter, I hope their attack is effective, because it is the first real good attack they've gotten in. And I think that's quite satisfying, as we talked at some length about. But I think that's just so hilarious, the sit. It's such an amazing callback and like running joke. And again, this series functions so well in anti-climax. That's the whole idea of Saitama and the One Punch. And weaving that sort of humor, that structure of humor into other situations, I think is hilarious. Especially here, because it is actually still the nonsensical legacy of Saitama. Saitama was the one that defeated Rover by far most easily, and was one of the ones that taught him this command, sit. So, even though it's other characters, it's not just Saitama one-punching them, it feels like it has that Saitama energy. Sit. Defeated it. I heard he was strong, but he has limits, right? S-class rank 3 Silver Fang. Really, though, it was thanks to Fubuki, limbering up their bodies, giving sharpness to their fists once again. I love the shot of Rover buried in the ground. When Rover shows like more dog-like qualities, like when there's a close-up of his paw and you can see his claws, I think that's really funny. Because his face is so monstery, it's so horrifying. But a lot of other stuff about him, really, it's just the dog. It's just the big dog. Speaking of, his elder brother over here. Just who on earth is he? Yeah, because Fubuki only really cares about heroes. This isn't a hero. This is just some martial arts guy. He's not even a hero, is he? His strength rivals that of Silver Fangs. By some chance have I discovered an absurdly outstanding talent? I need to get him in a Fubuki group. Oh, she must know this won't work. Surely all these repeated failures must have penetrated her ego just a little bit. That when her plan is, I will take, obviously, this prodigy of martial arts who clearly has a pre-existing relationship with Bang and yet has still chosen not to be a hero. And I'll convince him to be a hero. And I'll convince him to be... Hey, do you see something really weird happening, by the way, whenever I move my hand? The lighting on that blanket, that red blanket, keeps changing. Do you see that? Am I crazy? I hope this shows up in the actual recorded video. When I'm looking over here at the video preview in OBS, the blanket keeps changing shades. I sound like a crazy person right now. Please tell me that you see this too. Anyways, what was I talking about? Sorry, I got totally distracted by this. It's just the lighting. It's like OBS has certain, and maybe my web camera does too. It makes adjustments based on like the ambient lighting and stuff. So just by like moving my hands around, I'm changing like the lighting profile of the scene, and then it re-chroma keys, like it re-hues things. I think is what's going on. Either that or I'm losing my mind. Anyways, yeah, Fubuki is also losing her mind. Bomb. Yeah, that's his name. Magnificent job. I'm truly impressed. Aww. Look at that nice little likewise, young lady. Nice guys. And you can tell, even though you can't see it underneath his mustache, but that Bang is smiling too. He doesn't realize that this is Fubuki trying to sucker him up to join her little club. Oh, there's one thing I forgot to tell you. Special bonus for joining the Fubuki group at the moment. It's a 3 kilogram special beef set. This is the hilarious thing. That would work on Saitama. That was actually the route to Saitama this whole time. Or, I don't know if, like, maybe she's trying this because she saw that when Dr. Kusino brought Saitama meat, that worked. So this is either in response to seeing that, or it's just terrible, terrible irony that she actually had the exact thing she should have said to Saitama this whole time. Anyways, Rover gets back up. Still lively. Just how tough is this dog? Oh, and here we go. We can't pass through. Just sit and behave. I love the implication here too that like it's not so much that Rover is on the verge of defeat, that Rover was really badly hurt by the previous attack, and now the sit command will work, but just that sit would have always worked. They actually sat down. Oh, it's so cute now. It's so cute when it's sitting like that. Let's hurry on forward. Yeah, so their big technique, unclear if it had some effect. Rover was out of it for a little bit. They had their little chat while it was buried there, and when it got up, it didn't start immediately just launching attacks. Maybe it was a little disoriented. So I think it was still a nice climax to that fight that they got in this one big hit. But as I said, they could have just said sit this whole time. It's so cute. All right. Fubuki is a little razzled, but we're hurrying on forward. So I really, really like how this is structured. This is something, again, that I think is fantastic in One Piece, that when you have a gigantic, multifaceted battle going on, this whole war between heroes and monsters, that we alternate between having, like the first chapter we read in this session, chapter 123, was much more wide-spanning, much more of an overview. We checked in on all sorts of fights, we had all sorts of characters, but then we have now, for 2 chapters in a row, focused entirely on the new Fubuki group versus Rover. And what I'd like to see is to actually not go back to a wide-spanning thing after this, but just to kind of pop in on another specific fight, another specific set of characters, and see what they're up to. I think that's what's going to happen. Ooh! So, while Tatsumaki is busy with her extraction mission, another good plot line we can return to, given that it was kind of the final focus of chapter 123, she notices that Fubuki is fighting as well. Fubuki is really fighting hard. So enough that even with all of this other chaos, Tatsumaki can notice it. That's cool. That's a good connection. So I really like this. You know, as I said, there's a nice balance between overview stuff and specific details, and that the ordering of these things actually is chosen very, very intelligently, very purposefully, right? It just happened again. I just saw the blanket change again. I think it really shows one's storytelling genius. Just these little connections, you know? Clearly told him she absolutely cannot be allowed to get involved. There's 3 N's in cannot. Whatever. Be sure to give Sekengar, who I butchered the name of earlier, peace of my mind later. Ha ha ha. Meanwhile... This is so great. So this is a monster that Saitama and Lightspeed Flash were interrogating as it was taking a poopy, trying to get him to take them to the Monster King's palace, the final boss, so they can finish it off. Both of them, of course, being absolutely confident in their strength. I believe that that was added to the redo of Chapter 122, because I was rereading Chapter 122, and I got to that scene, and I was like, I don't remember this at all. For a second, I was like, oh my god, did I not even read Chapter 122? Am I, like, skipping my first reaction here by reading it on my own? Because I just wanted to reread it to remind myself of what was going on. Anyways, I think, though, yeah, just that scene was added. Nice little connection. Nice plot development. 10 minutes. It's time for the match of the millennium. I love how much fun Saitama is having. Again, I just love the aesthetic diversity, this manic feeling of the Monster Association headquarters. Like, the fact that it has this minecart area is fun. It's very tropey and cliche, and it feels like part of a dungeon or whatever. But if you look at, like, the path it takes, this extreme windingness, it gets back to that really distorted world, kind of Lovecraftian feel. It's a fantastic blending. Sorry, I dropped my... I have this kind of like fidgeting toy that I use. Because otherwise I find during videos, I end up doing really strange things like picking away at stains on my desk, which is not good. I had no idea there's so much stuff going on beneath my home. I'd be so bored if I knew about this. So the implication here is that the entire Monster Association arc might have not even happened if Saitama had just managed to find the entrance, which is like right beneath his house. He would have just cleared it all out by himself, had a fun little adventure on his own, and none of this would have happened. Oh, I love their bickering. Especially, again, with what's happening in the webcomic. I think setting up this relationship more and more is just going to make it funnier and funnier when these later developments happen. Ooh, this looks so much fun. What a wormhole. What a roller coaster. Looks like a Super Monkey Ball level. They even have... There's a little Gyro eye that takes the camera. That's like, you know, in the roller coasters, everybody, woo! Yeah, you put your hands up for the camera. We'll get the souvenir photo later. Ooh, I'll drop this whole cart down the valley at the switching point up ahead. So he's planning on sacrificing himself to remove the S-Class hero and the extra. Alright. But he gets chickened out. This is so funny, because, like, you know, of course, if he had tried that, both of them would have survived easily. Saitama just wouldn't have been hurt by the drop. Easily could have reacted, easily could have just jumped out, run up the walls. Lightspeed Flash would have just extremely quickly jumped back up. So it wouldn't have been a problem at all. But just this little characterization of this monster, I think is so funny. It's just like, maybe not, maybe not. Okay. So that's the end of chapter 125. I like here that the translation team mentions those revisions to 122, especially, so that if you're like, who is this guy? What happened here? It's not that confusing. Like, you can assume basically what accurately happened quite easily, but it's still nice. It's still nice. You can see what's up. Okay. Now we're going to read chapter 126. So look forward to that. Bye-bye for now.